And thank you all so much for your patience. We are back once again. Once more, I am Leave. I will be the host here talking about any donations that might be coming up, as well as any other fun things going on. We've got a couple of fantastic people here joining me as well. We've got Kluter and Lady Demi.
Hello.
Who will be running and commentating for us. Before we do start with that, though, I do want to bring up a couple of incentives that we still have going on. Specifically for this run, we still have a bid war going on for if you want to spare or kill High Kid later on. I know, especially with Super Metroids, it's always fun to save or kill the animals. This is no different. Save the frames, kill the frames. Let's get those votes going in, those donations and incentives. We do also have an incentive for naming the character in Energy. It is a 5-character limit, so you can toss a little bit of money there if you want to help out and pick a fun name for somebody. On top of that, too, we do have, once again, Turbo Bikes for Battletoads 2020. We are $10 away from reaching that. Just $10. You could put in like $15, $5 to kill or spare High Kid. You could put the rest to Turbo Bikes. It would be really cool. And when you are donating as well, do keep in mind, if you reach certain incentives like $10, you're entered for a chance to win a lot of really cool things, such as a Kraid painting or a Zelda poster. If you go up to $25, you can get something really cool, such as the Splash Woman figure or a Sylveon scarf. You saw a couple of them going on through the little ad break. There's even a Bioshock clock. That thing is really pretty.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that, I think. It's really cool.
So yeah, please do consider making some donations, helping out for our donation, or for the charity marathon that we're running right now. We're just short of a third of the way to our goal as well, which would be really cool if we could hit that. Anyways, I'll let y'all take the wheel. Best of luck with the run.
Alright, so...
Thank you. He's going to need it.
Yeah, no kidding. This game is RNG the game, basically.
It is a mystery dungeon roguelite for the PlayStation 1, and this category is a little different. It is a New Game Plus category for a game that doesn't have a New Game Plus.
Yeah, New Game Plus in this game is a community-defined standard. The any percent run does not give us a lot of opportunities for playing with the various monsters that are in this game. So we made up our own kind of New Game Plus, which simulates running into the tower after a single run. And we get the opportunity to play with pretty much any monster, which you don't get to do in any percent.
Right, it's any, and let me make sure I've got this right. It's any 5 items, as if they were items you found in the tower, yes. And that includes monsters. And we have a communal save set up so that you can really just go ham on this.
Yes. Alright, so we've got Lego and Ego here, both of them named by incentives. Lego here, he's the best boy of Azure Dreams, if you ask me. He has a fancy little ability where we can feed him that seed and then fuse him. So he's gone now forever. Goodbye, Lego. But now, Ego gets that ability. And he can do that pretty much infinitely because he can eat coins. And that's going to be really important, and I'll show you guys why in just a minute. This is the wrong layout.
Yeah, that is... Because this is a roguelike, most roguelikes do have some sort of food or hunger mechanic in which your ability to continue fighting and going on is always going down. In Azure Dreams, Ko, the playable character, doesn't have that, but his monsters do. And so this strategy is sort of dependent on using a big, powerful ability and using a monster that you can keep the hunger up and keep using that ability forever. And there we go. That is the nature of this run.
We just did something a little bit important there. 2 things happened all at once. First, we displayed how this run is going to go. So, that Lego that we sacrificed there at the very beginning, he gives us the ability to delete every monster in front of us in the 3x3 grid. And we can do that pretty much indefinitely. The only limit to how much we can do that is how much mana we have on our monster. And the reason that we chose this monster specifically is because we can feed it coins and get 50 mana back.
Right, normally you have to find, Pita fruits. Fruits are the main one, which is what most monsters get mana from, but they're not guaranteed and they're not common, and that just makes an already sort of not marathon safe a sort of run inherently less marathon safe, and less just generally safe. And so, High Kid is about the way to go if you're going to be using Dark Shoot to delete everything.
And High Kid is the name of this strategy. It's actually something that I myself came up with. Oh, okay. Well, getting hit with a spell. It's fine. Yeah, so...
Okay.
Ordinarily, you don't get to do that very much. That spell, it's not something that you can normally get on any other monster, but feeding our friend, Lego, the C seed at the very beginning, that allowed us to transfer that spell to Kid here. We dubbed this strategy the High Kid strategy.
Yeah, the other main strategy used for this sort of run And for New Game Plus runs, at the moment, is I think fusing a Cyclone, which is a monster you can find on this floor, so maybe we'll run into.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find one to show you guys.
There's one right now, and its special ability is that it like has half the MP cost, and that's pretty great.
Yeah, this guy in front of me is called a Cyclone. He's got one eye. He's flying around. Pretty scary sometimes.
Yeah, they're not the hardest to fight things, but they can be pretty missing early on and to a new run, though I think for a lot of runners, they're not the big roadblock. The big roadblock is yet up ahead. Though for this run, basically, most monsters are equal. They all die like that.
So, you see how my familiar just fell onto the ground and started sleeping? That's because it ran out of mana. That's what makes Dark Shoot so difficult to use most of the time, and it's why we had to take that spell off of the base monster Lego, and we had to put it onto this one, because most monsters you have to rely on some pretty rare items to find, but this is the only monster in the game that can eat coins off of the ground to regain mana. And coins are the most abundant monster. Sorry, the most abundant item.
I don't. It's the only, because pickets can just eat anything.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Pickets can eat anything off the ground.
But they also have 2 turns to your every one, and that can run into a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, with the Dark Shoot specifically, that can cause a lot of problems. Because you're not getting as many turns as your monster, and so can't use Dark Shoot as often as the monster is using MP. Yes.
And it just gets wonky with turn order, because this game's turn order is a thing we're still trying to learn about 20-something years later.
So I just found a really important item just now called a Star Glass. That lets me find where the elevator is on the floor. It shows me the entire map layout. So if I'm on a map like this one, where it's got a lot of rooms and I can take a lot of time searching them, or I can just use this and it'll show me immediately where the elevator is. Oh,
right,
and we stepped on what will be the scariest thing in this run, and that is a trap. Traps, you won't know that they're there until you step on them or until you hit them. They can affect monsters, thankfully.
Use an item. There is a specific item you can use.
Yes, there's a specific item.
To tell you where all the traps are.
But without that item, you won't know where any of the traps are, and some of them can just straight up end your run. And there's not a whole lot that you get to say about it.
Right.
Here's that item, in fact.
That traps are the worst in every category, but I will say that traps are the worst in this category in particular in a way that they maybe aren't in 80%. In 80%, traps are just another thing. But in this particular format, since all monsters are mostly non-threats without something else factoring into it, therefore, the trap is the ultimate threat, the thing which can most easily disrupt this run.
Yeah, so to kind of tack onto that a little bit, you tend to end up a little bit lower level in this run than you do in a lot of other runs, except for maybe any percent, because you don't spend as much time fighting as you do in a normal run. And you can blow your way through a lot of monsters really easily, so you can get away without getting any kills for a really long time, whereas in any percent you would have to, at some points, get some levels just so you can blow through monsters more easily. So you can end up at pretty low levels if you get yourself on a good pace, and that puts you at 1 or even 2-shot territory for a lot of monsters.
Right, basically, defense in this game will eventually become a thing which doesn't matter. Just straight up, and that is why in your starting equipment kit for New Game Plus, you're using the leather shield as opposed to a higher defense shield. Eventually, the defense from other shields won't matter, but the small dodge percent that only the leather shield
I believe it's a 12%
will
bonus.
Always matter.
Yes.
It will always be there for you, and it can always help you if you're lucky.
Yep.
If I could have a moment, we do have a donation that came in from Sparkover. She donated $25. Amazing start to the marathon so far, everyone. I'm so thankful for all the runners and volunteers for helping make this such a great event so far. Please put this towards the energy naming incentive, Alex, with a little heart.
Hey, good donation.
Thank you. So, I think kind of
Okay.
the other thing to be...
So I want to talk about this for a moment. So this monster right here is called a U-boat. Normally, when it's under the water like that, you can't hit it. However, if I get another chance to show you guys, High Kid can hit that. It is the only thing in the game that can damage a U-boat while it is submerged like that.
Right, though... Oh, like, it's a little... It's still not necessarily the easiest thing to handle in that, like...
Yeah,
I
no.
saw that you kind of waited it for it to pop up because you had to target something.
Well, no, I can go in and I can manually input a dark shoot. It just takes a little bit more time.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and apparently the U-boat gets extra small when it's underwater. Yeah, this is a paralyzed trap. This is terrifying. If any monsters walked in, I would just be in a really bad state.
Yeah, because, like, your strategy is more or less contingent on, number one, you living, and number two, the kid living.
Yes,
And if
especially the
either of
kid
those
living.
two-
If the kid goes down, the run is in a very bad state usually.
Yeah, it just basically magically becomes an 80% run without a familiar.
Yeah.
And that's not secure, and that's not... Well, it's not as fast, for one. We probably end up over.
It's not very fast. So this, as you guys might have realized, this being a mystery dungeon kind of game, it's a lot different than a lot of speedruns where your skill is defined in your ability to execute, your ability to memorize the layout of things, and your ability to follow the route. This game, it's more of a toolbox speedrun, where you learn tools to deal with various situations, and every time the tower throws a situation at you where it tries to end your run, your skill is defined by your ability to tell the tower, no, I don't want to end my run.
Ooh, you just walked past a trap that could have been really bad, and just because of your luck, it didn't trigger.
Yes.
And run. Because because you can learn to recognize traps just by what they look. And that was probably either a warp or a prison, and both of those are super bad.
Yeah. So I just took kind of a risk there, stepping into that clown. That's that monster to my lower right, with the cute-looking guy with the scythe. I kind of stepped into his range first, which is something that you generally don't want to do. But I took the opportunity to do that because I was able to hit 2 monsters with my dark shoot instead of just 1. It's faster, it's just a little bit more of a risk.
Yeah, and
Found another exit loop, that's really lucky.
These a lot, some of your practice screens on this, I would say that, like, this is in some ways not all that different from most other Azure Dreams run, in the sense that you're kind of still trying to avoid fights wherever you can.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fighting is slower than not fighting.
We do have another donation that just came in from Shawnee71885 US. Donation to the Runner's Choice. Hello from the AD Discord.
Thank you, Shawnee. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I just get hit by a poison trap, so every turn I take a little bit of damage. It's a percentage of my max health. I'm not certain what exactly the percentage is. And we call that one the real slow trap because there is a slow trap in the game, but it doesn't actually slow you down. It just makes every other monster take 2 turns for every one of your turns.
Right, it slows the character, whereas poison slows the game.
Yes.
Oh, that is a lot of monsters.
Yep, but we're only going to fight those ones. So we got the elevator right here. So I don't think we've talked about the controller speed up at all. A little bit ago, this previous year, we discovered a trick in the game, kind of an oversight left in by the devs. Oh, geez. I almost just died. Because I was... anyways, so when you press the left and right buttons on the controller, left and right triggers, I believe, on the controller, it turns off the VSync on the game, which speeds up a lot of animations. I'm gonna go through here on this and not risk getting hit by another spell and dying. So at this point, pretty much anything can kill me at will because I've got that low of hit points right now, and my level is significantly lower than the rest of the tower. This is gonna be a pretty common situation for me to be in.
What you were trying to do a moment ago before you decided that, oh, that is a pita fruit. That would be great in any other run, but you just have coins.
Yes. There's actually a little technique you can do. Oh, and a sleep trap. We've been getting real bad luck with traps. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God! We just got so lucky. We might not look out still. That might kill us.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That was incredibly lucky on our part.
But yeah, what you were trying to do before that previous griffin on the last floor was wait and gain some HP back, and that is usually the recommended thing to do in Azure Dreams if you're playing it safe. But then again, so also is like not necessarily doing the safest thing.
So, we've disabled this warp trap, but we can actually still use it if we step onto it and click step. It'll teleport us to a random place.
Just with your monster as opposed to
yes,
without.
You want to pick up your monster if you're going to do that, because it will teleport you without your monster. And that's probably one of the scariest situations you can be in this game, because my monster is extremely weak on its own. It can't do very much on its own. And I myself am extremely weak on my own. I can't do anything on my own, really. Yes, Shawnee is mentioning in chat, there's a small chance to wake up when you get hit, and when you're paralyzed. Both of them have the same small chance to wake you up and break you out of that status. And that's kind of just what we hope for whenever something walks in. I think it's a 1 in 8 chance.
I think it's something like that. I know it's something like that with enemy monsters when you're in melee with them.
So, you see that bird-looking thing that's about to enter the room? This is a monster that's particularly scary because it has a spell, which means it has a ranged attack that it can use at pretty much any time that it decides. And that will do 24 damage to me right now. That's why we've been really careful to not deal with those. And we just found our favorite trap. It's called a go-up trap. Just knocks us up to the next room.
That is faster than using the elevators.
Not with the controller speed up turned on.
Oh, well there you go then. But like when you're not when you've not got the VSync off, that is faster than the elevator. It skips the text box. So, one thing that I don't think we've talked a lot about is necessarily like the monsters you're facing and the progression of them. Though, admittedly, like what threats you find sort of change as you go through that. And so, for this run in particular, that's more or less always going to be things that can hit you at range or things which can paralyze you.
There are really 3 monsters that we are scared of in the entire run. The first of that, okay, scratch that. We're gonna change that number to 4. Oh, that was bad. So one of those is this little bird thing in front of me, the floating bird thing. That's called a Garuda. What it can do is it can use an ability called Abduct, and it just warps it warps itself and either you or your monster to just some other place on the map. And it's really scary to be separated from your monster in this game.
This does make it delightful to use and like a really lucky get in other runs.
Yep, in any
if it's
percent runs
on your
particularly.
side.
Yep. So you're actually not allowed to use Garuda in this run, because this is the no major exploits category, and Fly is considered to be a major exploit in the speedrun.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then,
Because
like,
it's
that's also true of balloons, which we used to see
yes.
on previous floors, which have the ability to just go up like a balloon and take
Yeah,
you up
Shawnee
to
is the reason
your
that
level.
that balloons are no longer allowed in New Game Plus.
Well, New Game Plus a Snow Major exploits anyway.
Yeah, he's the reason for the split between New Game Plus and New Game Plus no major exploits. So if we go out into the hall here, you'll notice that we start moving a lot faster. This is a result of the controller speed up I was talking about earlier. But it's kind of a double-edged sword because a lot of things suddenly become faster than you can actually react to them. So you'll end up walking into a monster very frequently and taking a lot of damage. So if I'm at a low health, I need to be really careful not to do that.
If I could interject quickly,
Yep.
that previous donation that we did have, it gave you the opportunity if you wanted to put that and send those $5 to wherever you want.
Oh.
If I could, Spare or Kill High Kid still doesn't have any donations, and that's going to be coming up at the end of this run if you want to make a call and set Belito one of those two options.
We're going to set that to Killing the High Kid. It's up to you, the community, now to save the boy that is carrying us through.
Yeah, he is a dependable friend who, unlike the sort of usual dependable friends of other formats, doesn't give tutorial text. And that makes him the best friend.
So you all have to save him now.
Yeah, you guys have to save him.
Cat if he dies.
Hashtag save Ego.
And I'll also have Jeff V donating $25 as well. Again, thank you so very much for the donation. If you do want to put those $25 towards anything, just let any of the moderators know in chat, and they will get things set up for you post-haste.
So I kind of want to show off a monster that exists on these floors that I really don't like. So we're gonna see if we can find one since we're doing okay on time right now. There are 40 floors and we are on floor 19.
The floors with this sort of strategy take roughly the same variable amount of time.
A floor can take anywhere between seconds to minutes.
Right, but that seconds to minutes is equally variable. That is to say that later floors are not promised to be bigger than, or like further from the elevator or whatever than earlier floors.
Yes.
The monsters are harder, but all monsters here are either dangerous because they threaten the connection between you and the High Kid, or they are non-entities.
So, I have my kid set to always be at my back, so when I have my back to a wall and I start skipping turns, he does this. Oh, hey! It stepped on a trap. Alright, well, I can't get one of the monsters to walk in here, so we're just gonna go ahead and move on. But it's a monster called a Picket that takes 2 turns for every one of your turns, and it's the worst monster in the game. I hate it. Everyone hates it, except for Sand Knight. We don't like Sand Knight.
We like him. We like to blame him.
We like to blame him for everything that goes wrong. But the problem with the Picket is that it takes 2 turns for every one of your turns, and while the monster itself is not very dangerous, it is the only monster in the game that can start stealing your equipment. It can just steal it right out of your inventory.
Right, which admittedly isn't as big a problem in this particular strategy as in others, because your inventory is
It can actually be
replaceable.
extremely detrimental in this strategy, because of your reliance on copper coins. If it steals the copper coins that you have and then you run out of MP, because you used up all of your copper coins previous to that and you didn't collect any more, it can put you in a very bad position. It can also steal the star glasses and exit loops that you keep specifically for those floors, so that you don't have to deal with those pickets. And that's just annoying because it represents time loss. Star glasses and exit loops are also very useful for getting a good time. In fact, we're going to go ahead and... actually, no. The elevator should be up here to the right. Yeah, there we go.
So, I suspect that your estimation of it, besides just general sense of an Azure Dreams floor layout, comes from some, like, relatively newer knowledge that I know that you in particular have been using in your practices.
Yes, so recently Programmer, one of the members of our Azure Dreams Discord, he is in fact a programmer. In fact, he's the one responsible for the randomizer mod that we have. He has done some work figuring out how rooms spawn, and there are certain parts of the map which are more likely to spawn a room. That doesn't make them more likely to spawn an elevator. But them being more likely to spawn a room means that you have a higher chance of walking into a room that has the elevator. So I was kind of able to use some of that information there to figure out which parts of the map were most likely to contain a room, and therefore most likely to contain an elevator.
Oh, that is not great luck. Admittedly, it's great luck in terms of when you're having not great luck with the pickups.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, there's actually a 65% chance of any monster getting picked up, because monsters, there are some monsters light enough, several monsters in fact, this is one of them, that are light enough that you can pick them up, and then you can throw them. Let me see if I can show you guys that. Yeah. And then you can just throw them, and then you don't have to fight them. It's great, right? I have the worst luck with it.
Yep. And like with the Palumpa missing that pickup or failing that pickup check, however you want to put it, twice, isn't bad because Palumpas are Palumpas and therefore the weakest thing. But if it were a stronger enemy, that would have been a scary situation.
Yes. So we're in kind of a weird position that sometimes happens here in Azure Dreams where I have a pretty good idea of the floor layout, and yet I still can't find what room the elevator is in because I haven't stumbled into it and it's just a wonky looking map. I'm gonna expect it's down here. Yeah. I kind of figured there might be a room down here hidden in the bottom right corner.
We do have another donation that's found its way to us. $5 from Gene Freak. Sinking that submerged U-boat warmed my heart. Good luck on the run. Incentive runner's choice. So you got another $5 to work with. What are you gonna do with it?
We're gonna put it into killing High Kid.
More money into killing High Kid.
You guys gotta save this boy. Look at all the work he's putting in.
Chat, you gotta save him.
It's worth mentioning in this incentive war that New Game Plus time doesn't end when you leave the tower.
No, it ends when you confirm no, you do not want to quit after you step onto the elevator on floor 39. I know it sounds convoluted, it'll make more sense when we get there.
Right. And for other runs, it ends usually when you get the ultimate egg that's at the top of the tower, but, well, we had the ultimate egg, and we fused it into Ego here.
Yeah, Lego, at the very start, the monster that we sacrificed, is the monster that you get after you beat the game. It is the most powerful monster in the game, second only to High Kid.
Yep.
And I can't find the elevator again.
That is...
So we're actually we are actually fast approaching the floor that ends the most runs in New Game Plus. And that would be floor 25. Floor 25 is an extremely dangerous floor because two of the monsters there will paralyze you just by doing their actions. That is the third poison ball we've seen this run. So this is actually one of those.
I'm just telling you something. Tell you something.
In a situation like this, normally we would not want to step closer to the monster in order to, so that it didn't get the first hit on us, because the turn order goes us, monster, our monster, typically. But this monster has a ranged spell that can paralyze us, so ordinarily we would be put into a position where we have to step forward. This is where High Kid comes in and saves us again, because it hits in a 3x3 area in front of us. That would be a very dangerous situation to be in otherwise. And here's another one, but we didn't have to worry about that this time. Although I suppose in stepping forward it could have paralyzed my my High Kid, so I'm glad it chose not to do that. Most monsters will go after you instead of going after your monster, and it'll go after your monster if you're not there to go after. Or if you're further away than your monster. But sometimes that's just not true, and we're not certain how to tell when, except when it happens.
Right. Monster AI seems to work in ways that are almost perfectly predictable. But
And
only almost.
this is floor 25. This is another one of the monsters that's kind of scary in this run because it has a very high attack, and sometimes it just turns invisible, and you just don't see it until it's... Yeah, there's one right here. Luckily, the leather shield and our natural dodge chance let us dodge that attack, so we didn't take all of that damage, but it can do quite a bit of damage.
Oh, you also did a thing that, like, is a little bit tricky to use tactically, and certainly in this strategy there isn't much tactical use for it, but you can push monsters a bit.
Yes, and there's one in front of me. Here's another one of those stealths. You see how I'm holding a monster, but you can't see anything? Yeah. Let's see if we can get him to attack us. Yeah, we dodged it again. I've just been really lucky with those dodges today.
Yeah. Yeah, that is some very impressive.
We've gotten some really good items RNG, because we've gotten a ton of star glasses and exit loops. And this would be our second egg. We're actually going to show off what's inside all of our eggs. Eggs are kind of the gimmick of this game. This is one of those other monsters that can paralyze me. I'm really glad it's asleep, so I don't have to worry about it at all.
Right, they can paralyze.
Eggs are the gimmick of this game.
Like...
You can do one of three things with eggs. Oh dear, that was really bad of me. I stepped into the monster's range and it could have paralyzed me. That was a mistake on my part. I misunderstood how far away from me it was.
Yeah, this game's like perspective is a little bit weird. And sometimes it's hard to see. When in doubt, use your mini-map.
So, we just found one of the hypest monsters in the game. It's called a barong. And let me show you why this guy is cool. So I throw an item at him, and he just spits a random item out. You can get some really rare items in this game, and in fact, there are some items that you can only get in this way. And he just gave us a star glass. That's really good.
That is good. That is probably the thing for you in particular.
Yeah.
Here. And like, you can also do this until they run out of MP,
so
and therefore just fall asleep.
You do that so many times, and then they fall asleep, and you can just carry them around, and they're your little friend forever. Or at least until you hit the next elevator, or kill it.
Right, they're worth loads of XP. These are basically the metal slimes of Azure Dreams.
Yeah.
They're found only on floor 16, 26, and 36. They're not very common. They're great to run into.
Yes.
And they're relatively safe. Even in terms of monsters you can encounter.
Yeah, they do quite a bit of damage, and they do have a lot of hit points, though. Not that I got to showcase their considerable bulk, but yeah, they have a lot of hit points, and I think they have a fairly high defense too. So they're not an easy monster to kill, is what I'm saying.
We do have another donation coming in right here. Programmer has donated $50.
Oh my!
Oh wow, thank you, Programmer.
Glad to see Kluter and Demi doing such a great job representing the Azure Dreams community. Donation to Commentator's Choice. Demi, you gotta make the call this time.
Oh, that's tricky.
Do you want to kill High Kid? Do you want to put a name on energy character, or you got a lot of choices here?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put, let's say, say, okay, so there's like, what, $10 on Kill High Kid at the moment?
That is
that
Yes,
right?
that is accurate.
Okay. So let's say... I want to figure out, like, the math here so that it remains competitive. But I still do want to put...
I think whichever one you pick, that's what's happening.
Probably.
I mean, you could split up the money too. You could put like.
That's what I'm thinking about doing. I'm trying to figure out the right amount to split to keep it to that safe High Kid is in the lead, but it's still competitive. Just in case someone really wants to kill High Kid.
$9.99 to save.
Money into it. Okay. You know what? I actually do not feel like doing this internal math. So let's say like...
You could split it 50-50 and then the it doesn't change how much they need to add to save him. If you're looking to avoid math.
If I split it 50-50, then I still would like that to be winning. So let's say... Okay, I'll do the math anyway, because I'm going to keep thinking about it regardless.
Oh boy, oh, I just did something kind of dumb there. So, these Naplasses are a fairly unique monster. They will just go to sleep on their own. Oh, and one of them apparently was a Maneva, so once... At this level, when we start seeing Manevas, they will start turning into other monsters or other items. So if you see two identical items on the floor, you have to be a little bit wary of that. Maybe that's a mimic. And then they can also turn into monsters like we saw there. But back to those Naplasses, they are a little bit scary in any percent because if you run up to them and hit them while they're asleep, they will immediately wake up and whack you back really hard.
Right, most monsters when they wake up use up
that
their
is the
turn
fourth
doing
poison
that.
ball. I have never seen this many poison balls.
I have decided 35 to saving, 15 to killing.
So if you guys are wondering why I'm so exasperated by the number of poison balls, it's pretty much the worst spell ball in the game. There's like pretty much no use for it. Also, we've just gotten into the scariest floors in the game.
In a ball format.
Say that again?
It's Poison Trap in a ball format.
Yes, and it hits everything in the room.
Alright, I'm something like everything we said about poison as a trap, the true slow trap, is still true about poison as a ball. Except maybe it's not you losing the HP. But that's about it.
So because we have so many items to loop out the elevator, we're gonna go ahead and start using some of those now that we're on the really dangerous floors. Also, hype, double elevator, woo! I like that they're in the same room. So very occasionally you can have a floor that spawns with multiple elevators. If this is another poison ball? Okay, it's the other useless ball, but it's a little bit more useful than the poison ball if you ask me. Something, male contraceptive.
At least it doesn't actively kill frames.
Yeah, so where the weak ball comes in handy, as opposed to the poison ball not coming in handy, here, I'll just go ahead and show it here. So I can use this weak ball, and the camera will follow the projectile, and I'll get to see down that way. It helps me scout out more rooms. Oh! Yeah. Up we go. Also the same room as the elevator. Kind of the joke is that the go-up traps are always in the same room as the elevator. The one room you don't want them to be in.
Or you're doing any percent and it's on one of those earlier floors, and
Yeah.
you're just trying to stock up on items before you get to things that are scary and hard.
Yeah, past floor, 6 or so, it gets the difficulty really ramps up for any percent.
Yeah, that is sort of the intended point where you go back into town and you try again one way or another.
Yeah. And
But
we should be able to cruise through the rest of the tower now.
Alrighty then. So we are pretty much done. Pretty much done. And like nothing terrible has happened.
Yeah, it's been a really clean run so far. Let's go ahead and see what's in here.
It is time for Baron Gachapon. Oh, a raid!
Yeah, there was a raid. Oh, hey, so we just got one of the rarest items in the game. We're gonna feed it to this thing. Another really useless item.
Sometimes, just because Barons give you things which are rare,
doesn't mean they're good. It's one of the rarest items in the game, but also one of the most useless items in the game. It gives one of your monsters a ranged attack. It's called the Troll. We fought a few of them in the early tower. They're the little dudes with the hammers. And you can give that to the Troll, and it'll have a ranged attack, except it has a lower accuracy than normal, and also it can't use the ranged attack on its own. So it's just a really unfortunate implementation of it.
Yeah, and like, because bow trolls as enemies are a little bit, I think they're more annoying than other types of trolls. Because one thing you can do with troll weapons is toss them at trolls and they will equip them. Which is great if you're, say, not wanting to deal with a sword or troll or a bow troll and you have a club. But it's not, you don't really want to switch them into being a bow troll.
So, if that had hit my familiar would be dead right now. Just to give you an idea of the kind of brutal experience it can be up at this high in the tower, this has been a really clean and easy run, like unusually so. Nothing bad has happened yet, so I'm just kind of waiting to spawn and hit a monster den and just get rained on enemies. And that didn't happen. Alright, so that's floor 40, that's the end of the run.
Alrighty.
Alright, so what are we looking at on... What are we looking at on the on saving or killing High Kid?
I believe off of the last $50 donation and how it was split up, we are sparing High Kid.
Alright, so let me show you guys these eggs. So the gimmick of these eggs is that you can do one of three things with them. So you can take them home. You can use one of these items here on the ground called a wind crystal and take it home with you. You can hatch it in the hut at home. Or you can have it in your hand, and you can throw it at a monster, like so. And if it's an enemy monster, it'll attack it. Or you can hop on it, and you can hatch it in the tower, and when you leave the tower, the monster won't come with you, but you'll get to use it in that tower run. So let's see what's in this one. Alright, so that's that. A run of Azure Dreams. We are sparing High Kid. Because he's a very good boy, and he ran us through the tower. That's the end of it.
Thank you very much for having us.
And thank you so much for running this game. It was definitely a fun treat to see and watch.
Thank you guys for having me.
Congratulations to High Kid for surviving.
Yeah. Thank you guys again for having me, and thank you for all the donations for everyone that's donated for the Azure Dreams community. Thank you guys for, donated for the Extra Life, but the donations that came from the Azure Dreams community. It was really cool of you guys.
Yeah, with all of that, we are like $23.38 away from being a third of our way to our donation goal of $3,000. We're almost there, just a little bit more. And if you want to put that money to good use...
Why don't I chip that in? What was that specifically to get to the third of the way?
It looks $23.38.
To get to the third of the way?
And
$23, you said?
Alright.
$23.38.
Well, let me break out my wallet, then I'll get us there.
Alright.
Alright.
But I think that should be the end of the run, so if we want to switch over to the next runner. I'll get us there.
Yeah. Just a reminder too, if anybody wants to put that money towards naming the character in Energy, currently Alex is in lead with $25. We do need $10 still for Battletoads Turbo Bikes. just $10. And that would be all of our incentives for today. Anyways, tune in just a little bit, and we will be moving right over to energy.